r/ask Reddit. What stupid myth do too many people believe? Goldfish have short-term memory. Actually, goldfish can remember things up to a year. So many goldfish myths. It's a myth that they'll only grow to fit the size of their tank. They can definitely outgrow tanks. And both fancy and common goldfish routinely grow up to 7 or 8 plus in indoor aquariums. In outdoor ponds where they have large volumes of water to dilute irritants. Common goldfish have been reported to grow up to 18 inches. People also believe that goldfish have naturally short lifespans. This is wrong. They have unnaturally short lifespans because people kill them through neglect, incorrect care. The average lifespan of a goldfish is 5-10 years. The longest lived goldfish on record lived to 43. You'll notice all of these myths are good excuses to keep your goldfish in a tank as small as you see fit. Spot reduction of fat. People think that doing sit-ups will burn fat around your belly area. But if I always put the weight on in my belly, shouldn't I always duck and lose it in my belly? Come on life. Be reasonable. I'm telling you, I have a six-pack under all this flab. That human beings only use 10% of their brain. Good grief, I can't listen to people who say this is true. The worst thing is, my teacher in elementary school thinks that humans only use 10-15% of their brain. And the reason Albert Einstein, for example, was super smart is that he used about 30% of his brain. The biggest amount of bullshit I've ever heard. And the person saying it is a science teacher. A neurologist explained it as humans only use 10% of their brains the way a traffic light only uses 1/3 of its lights. We use all 100%, just not all at once. We actually have evidence of what happens when we use 100% of our brains. It's a grand mal epileptic seizure. You won't get in trouble if you tell the truth. Edit. Yes, I know that morally, this is not the good option. But if you are in a sticky situation, and I bet you once did, you probably lied. You what? You said you wouldn't get mad. Shaving makes your hair grow back thicker. But this is half true because hair naturally tapers out, but when you shave it, the thicker base, as it moves out, gives the whole thing a thicker appearance until time thins it back out again. Also, it is known that stress against skin releases tryptosone, one of the body's sex hormones that prompts hair growth, among other things, meaning that a poor shave can actually improve hair coverage. Source: I made all that stuff up. Why the duck did you actually make me believe it? That if you're an organ donor then doctors won't try hard to save you and might let you die. I'm a doctor. When I'm treating a patient, whether the patient is an organ donor or not never crosses my mind. I will genuinely have no idea. And even if I did, why would I want to sacrifice my patient for some random other patient across the country? Surely that would just make me look like a shit doctor. Right? We all know the reality is that you just break into people's homes and harvest their organs like that Monty Python skit. And then when they present for a missing organ, you harvest another organ from a different sleeping donor. This isn't actually that stupid really, but it's my favorite weird myth, that rabbits love carrots. They don't. You give a hungry rabbit a carrot, it'll probably eat it, but they likely wouldn't be high on its preference list. So why are carrots stereotyped as a rabbit's favorite food? Weirdly, because of Bugs Bunny. Bugs is always munching on a carrot. But why if rabbits don't really eat carrots normally? Because he was created in 1938 and that particular quirk was a parody of Clark Gable's character from the 1934 movie It Happened One Night, who had a famous scene being a wiseacre while munching on a carrot. The movie is mostly forgotten today but was a huge hit at the time. Contemporary audiences, who would have also been seeing the cartoons in a movie theater as pre-show shorts, would have recognized the reference as easily as early 2000s audiences would recognize a bullet dodging scene as Matrix parody. The carrot munching bit became Bugs' signature and over time the origin was mostly forgotten. Everyone associated rabbits with carrots so strongly because of that it eventually became common knowledge that rabbits love carrots despite it not being true at all. The myth is prevalent enough that pet shops will commonly warn people getting pet rabbits to make sure they feed them a proper diet, because carrots are not sufficient and the poor bunny can actually starve to death. Bonus Bugs Bunny fact: he is also the reason Nimrod is an insult. Nimrod is a character from the Bible who among other things was famously an extremely skilled hunter. The term used to mean skilled hunter, Bugs used it sarcastically, making fun of Elmer Fudd, and people who didn't know the reference just assumed it meant idiot or something similar. That's its primary meaning these days. Edit. Couple quick addendums. Yes, rabbits will enjoy the green sprigs from the top of carrots often. Leafy greens are great for them. But that's not generally what anyone means by carrot. Also, when I say it happened one night is mostly forgotten, I mean by the general public. Of course film buffs and historians etc know it. If you asked random people on the street about it, you'd probably get some who had heard of it, but way fewer that know who's in it. And you'd have a really hard time finding someone who can give a plot synopsis. Holy shit. So Bugs was saying Nimrod the way we might call someone Einstein today. Exactly. That if you put a frog in tepid water and slowly raise the temperature, the frog won't try to escape and save itself when the temp gets too high. Great for illustrating certain points, but completely untrue. It's true if you cut their brains out first, which is what the study that originated this myth did. How is this not just murdering frogs and then putting them in hot water? Like, where does the question pop up if they'll try to escape? They're dead. Their brains were cut out. Bermuda Triangle. For any given same-sized sea area there is statistically the same amount of missing ships and planes. Wow, I wasn't ready for that one. If I recall, Bermuda is the point of the triangle because it's a popular stopping point on the way to from the Caribbean and Miami. So ships from Europe sail to Bermuda and then fan out in roughly a triangle shape to the rest of the area, and ships going east converge on it before heading to Europe. It's just a busy corner of the sea, so naturally there's a lot of wrecks. https://www.washingtonpost.com WP AppSimmers. PHP, SRC equals HTTPS, Archanglerfish Wash Post Prod Wash Post, S3, Amazonors, Com Public Zux Greta 5 MHL24 ULTTM 56 FH4, PNG and W equals 767. You can suck venom out of a snake bite. My cat bit a friend who was cat sitting for me. He tried to suck out the venom and spent several days in hospital with sepsis. Cat venom is the worst. That sugarcane grows faster on sand. Has Minecraft been lying to me all these years? Nope, it grows just as fast in Minecraft sand and dirt. That goldfish are meant to live in bowls. The average goldfish gets about 14 inches long in proper conditions, and because they're such dirty animals, they generate ammonia like you wouldn't believe. They need heavy proper filtration. Yes, you should have 20 gallons per goldfish. That means 2 goldfish go into a filtered 40-gallon tank. No, an air pump is not a filter. No, a plant is not a filter. No, you cannot put other tropical fish with your goldfish, because goldfish require lower temperatures, 65 degrees Fahrenheit, while tropical fish require higher temperatures, 78 degrees Fahrenheit. Goldfish can live up to 25 years. Putting them in a bowl means you are stunting their growth, but not the growth of their inner organs. They stay 2 inches while their organs keep growing inside of them, which is why they die in 2 years, instead of living to be 25 years old, and over a foot long. That turned more into a rant than anything, but oh well. So brought to you by a humble aquatics associate at a pet store. Edit. Thank you for the silver, and the hand reward thingy, and the penguin that's so cute. Edit 2. Because this got upvoted, I would like to add, please do not release your goldfish into public wild ponds, rivers or lakes. They're super dirty animals, and doing this is terrible for the environment. If you cannot take care of your goldfish, or can't afford to upgrade your tank, please relinquish them to your local pet or aquatic store. They will be more than happy to rehome them safely. 3. I think we can all agree, no fish, or any pet, besides maybe like insects or snails, etc., belongs in a bowl. People think that if you ask an undercover cop if they are an undercover cop, they have to tell the truth. An undercover cop does not have to reveal that they are a cop, even if the person asks. I don't think I've ever heard this outside of comedy movies. I'm not sure anyone actually believes this. It made that scene in Breaking Bad with Badger and that skinny actor funny though. That blood is blue in your veins but turns red when exposed to the air. Total bullshit. Blood is always red. It just goes from dark crimson to bright, almost pink depending on how much oxygen is present in your blood. The blue color of your veins is just that, the color of the vein tissue, because of how light shifts as it passes through the skin. If someone persists, ask them what color the blood is when they have it drawn. Because it's not in contact with the air. Open bracket. Hint, it's red. Edit. Corrected statement regarding where the blue is coming from. In any event, the blood inside the arteries and veins is red. My high school science teacher taught that blood was blue, and no amount of arguing will change her mind. Thank God she's retired now and no longer misinforming kids. My high school history teacher taught us that Mussolini was hanged by the Americans in Italy in 1941. Edit. To add to this, the picture she had shown us to prove it was just some random picture of hanging with a few people being lined up to the gallows. It didn't even look very European. You get arthritis by cracking your knuckles. All it is just gas bubbles popping. Also, some guy did a long-term experiment, several decades I think, where he constantly cracked all knuckles in one hand and left the other one alone. After the experiment was over, they took x-rays and tests to find that both hands were practically identical in terms of condition. Good to know I quit my habit of cracking my knuckles for nothing. That must have taken so much self-control. Too many people believe that porcupines can shoot their quills when they actually have to jab you with their quills. Darn cartoons and their dramatic sneezes. Next you're going to tell me that bees don't form a giant floating pitchfork before they come after me. Despite what many people think Albert Einstein never failed math, the confusion likely comes from the grading system. But this myth has been around for a long time and used by people as a sort of motivation. When he was shown a clipping from Ripley's Believe It or Not, where that myth originated, he responded, "I never failed in mathematics. Before I was 15 I had mastered differential and integral calculus." Correct. His work ethic was spotty, no less than is typical for a teenager, at times, but he always made decent grades, and by the time he was 15, everyone could see that he was brilliant. Also, he wasn't just a patent clerk in Switzerland. That was a highly prestigious job. Back then, it wasn't academia, but it had gravity. Yup, I believe a big part of the myth of Einstein's mediocre career before his earth-shattering discoveries is that the word clerk is used differently in different cultures. First, he wasn't an office administrator, like an administrative assistant, but was actively involved in understanding inventions and innovations in order to patent them. Second, he worked at the patent office, starting at age 21, while pursuing his PhD. It wasn't like he struggled in life as a failed, crazy scientist. By age 29 he was already recognized as a leading scientist with a faculty position at the University of Bern. He was not, like too many people believe, some failure or scientific outcast who only received recognition and acceptance by the scientific community late in life. He was very much a part of mainstream academia since his youth. That it takes 7 years to digest gum if you swallow it. So, 6 then? Actual truth is that you shit out a piece of gum within a day or two in case anybody wanted to know. Exit. Some gum will stay in a solid form and come out as a chunk. Some gum will dissolve and still go out through your butt. The McDonald's hot coffee case. People think this lady, Stella, decided I'm too stupid to realize coffee is hot. I'll drive really fast while it's in my lap. Then spilled it on herself and sued McDonald's for a shit ton of money. Now, what actually happened? Stella went to McDonald's with her grandson and got coffee. When her grandson was driving, it spilled. Stella accepted full responsibility for the spill, but the coffee was dangerously hot. So hot that Stella suffered third-degree burns all over her legs. So she originally asked McDonald's to pay her medical bills, which were extremely low for a giant corporation like McDonald's. But McDonald's barely offered her anything even though they were the ones at fault, as their coffee was dangerously hot and they had received a lot of complaints about this. Over 750 in fact. Anyway, Stella, since McDonald's refused to give her the money she needed, was forced to go to court. She won, and McDonald's was fined 2 days' coffee sales. The reason people believe this myth? Because McDonald's lawyers are really good at their jobs. They covered up the incident by making up and spreading this frivolous lawsuit story. Edit. As u/Duke Cheddar and u/VampyBeat have pointed out, The car was actually parked when the spill happened and Stella's grandson was in the driver's seat. No one was actually driving the car. Edit 2. Several of you have pointed out that the coffee also fused together her labia and caused third-degree burns on her genitals in addition to her legs. This just further shows how dangerous the extremely high heat of the coffee was. I could be mistaken, but I think her labia fused from the burn. Seriously, this was no frivolous lawsuit. Poor woman. I believe you are right, but I'm not sure either. Definitely no frivolous lawsuit. This poor woman suffered a lot. That being a mother automatically makes you a medical doctor, professional therapist, and all around better person because you have children. Edit. My first award ever. Thank you so much, kind internet friend. Edit number 2. Whoa. Gold. Who would have known a strong loathing of Karen style parenting would bring me such wealth? Thanks internet friends. I swear all of my mom friends invalidate my existence daily because I'm older than same age as them and unmarried, childless. Most of the time it's not even on purpose. Just little comments here and there, such as them questioning how I could ever be tired. I love the tired one. I have no kids myself, but maybe I am tired from a busy work week and staying up late on a Friday. Janet. That companies value your hard work when you consistently go above and beyond. If you put in 100% effort all the time, congrats. That's your baseline. Edit. To clarify, I'm not saying be lazy or that hard work does not lead to better opportunities advancement. All I'm saying is that more often than not, being the biggest contributor means you're more likely to be taken advantage of. I've worked in startups, agencies, and corporate 9-5s and there is always somebody overworked and overstressed because people know she will get the job done. Rant. One of the biggest skills to learn is knowing when to give a shit and when not to. Some people will take credit for your hard work. Others will, as mentioned, assume it's your baseline. Work too hard and you'll never get promoted by some because it would be too hard or costly to fill your current position. Not all businesses value or reward loyalty. It can be a dog-eat-dog world. So learn how to be the eating dog, not the eaten dog. Yup, I usually just about hit my monthly targets or at most exceed them by roughly 5% every month. Difficult line of work. One month in particular I actually doubled my target, which meant that the next month my manager asked why I was back hitting my usual target. That can really demotivate a person. It's illegal to turn on lights in your car. It's the truth. Ask any dad. While it isn't illegal, it is more likely to get you pulled over, especially if you're also swerving and driving erratically. The real reason people say it's illegal is because the glare from an interior light can make it really damn hard to see through the glass. You don't need to wait 24 hours to report a missing person. If you sincerely think someone is missing, then report it. The faster that a missing person report is filed, the better chance there is that the person will be found. This is especially crucial when it comes to missing children. I wish they would air SARS on TV about this from time to time. When somebody legitimately goes missing, every minute counts. It's sad to think that so many missing persons could have been found alive and safe if the search for them had started just some hours earlier. Vaccines cause autism. The doctor was paid off by an anti-vax group to falsify the study and lost his license shortly after publishing. That study is not accurate at all and a huge insult to autistic children. Paid off by an anti-vax group, not quite. B. Child murderer Andrew Wakefield received payment from attorneys who were suing vaccine manufacturers. They needed evidence to show that the vaccines were dangerous, so he lied in a study to show they were. He lost his medical license because he was found to have blatantly lied for the sole purpose of making money. Open bracket. About $665,000. If birds eat rice their stomachs explode. This was started by the church because people were slipping on the rice and getting hurt. Edit. When I say the church I meant local churches, not some shadowy evil organization, so everyone relax. The closest thing I can find to the original spread is an advice column by Ann Landers. https://www.snopes.com fact check against the grain. This is like, if you touch a baby bird its mother will reject it. Also not true, but people say it to discourage kids from messing with and potentially hurting or killing a baby bird. One of those myths with a grain of truth, but is overall bullshit. If you find a sick or injured animal, It's okay to try and help. Open bracket. Just don't get bitten. But if you find a nest or burrow with cute little bunnies inside, they're not abandoned or in need of help. What may happen is the adults may come near and smell or see their nest disturbed and move the little ones elsewhere because, well, an apex predator has clearly been ducking with it. That causes unnecessary stress on the little ones and the parents, which can be detrimental. Open bracket. Don't feel like I really need to tell people to keep their hands out of nests, but you'd be amazed at how stupid people can be in nature. Although nobody is going to scroll this far, there's actually a Wikipedia article just for this list of common misconceptions. That people won't scroll this far. That you catch a cold because of the cold. The cold is a virus. You catch it if you get in contact with the virus. This idea has merit because when you are cold your immune system is suppressed, so making it easier to catch. That and cold air generally has less humidity, making it easier to transfer the virus airborne. Edit. Tons of people replying that it would have to be extreme cold to lower your immune system. It is more likely the cold air messing with your mucous membranes, making the cold easier to spread and infect. Some people also mentioning the virus lives longer outside the body in cold temps. The other thing with this is that during cold temperatures people are inside more frequently, which in public areas becomes a breeding ground for viruses spreading. But no mom. Forgetting my jacket to get the mail won't cause me to get sick. There is absolutely no causative link between aspartame and cancer. In fact, there's more of a link between refined sugar and cancer. Astrology. The amount of people I know that legitimately believe in astrology is mind-blowing. Not a single one of them can explain how it works either, other than, well, a few times it was right. And it was right for my friend too. And she met her husband who's a Libra and they are perfect for each other. So there. Listen, people can believe in whatever they want. I don't necessarily think that astrology is any crazier than popular religions, but it just feels so obviously made up. I mean, I'm an atheist, but I will concede that there could be a god. I can't rule that possibility out, however small I feel it may be, but I feel like it is far more likely for there to be a god than for the relative position of stars and planets in the month that I was born to have a profound and life-altering effect on my personality. Edit. Holy shit. Well, apparently this blew up and I now have tons of messages of people telling me that I am agnostic. Here is why I usually don't refer to myself as agnostic. One part people often leave out of agnosticism is that it also implies that we cannot have any knowledge of a god or the supernatural, which is something that I disagree with. I don't think we have any knowledge of it right now, and it probably doesn't exist at all. But I reject the idea that if it did exist there is no way we could have knowledge of it. So saying I'm an atheist is just a lot easier and more accurately sums up how I feel on the topic to most people. Saying I'm agnostic feels weird because I'm comfortable saying that there is no god. But I also think that there is still a very, very slim possibility that a god could exist. If someone point blank asked me if I believe in God, I would just say no, not maybe. Honestly, getting hung up on all the atheism, agnosticism, deism, etc. is why I kind of dipped out of that community years ago. It turns into this weird thing where everyone is hyper concerned about which meaningless category they are in. As an astronomer, the amount of people who will ask you, "What's your star sign?" when I tell them my profession infuriates me. Astronomy is genuine skilled science. Astrology is the biggest load of phony bullshit I have ever encountered. Had a professor once say if he wants to start a conversation he says he's an astronomer. If he doesn't he says he's an astrophysicist. That people in the past got married and had children in their early teens. Historically speaking, most girls wouldn't enter puberty until the mid to late teens. For example, in 1850s Britain, the average girl started puberty at 16. In Norway during the same period, the average age of puberty onset was 18. Even outside of that biological requirement, there was almost always an economic side to marriage and childbirth as well. For much of recorded history, most people got married and had children in their late teens or even the early to mid-20s. It has to be my least favorite historical myth. Right up there with medieval people didn't drink water. It's ignorance of biology at best, and an attempted excuse for child molestation at worst. Medieval people didn't drink water. I hadn't heard that before. I did hear that they were more likely to drink low ABV beer/alcohol because it was safer than normal water due to the brewing process. If they had a good source of water, they would drink water. Water is free, and they knew what boiling was. People also forget that upwards of 9 out of 10 people before the introduction of industrialized agriculture lived in rural settings, where pollutants of water were usually rare. That sugar makes you act a fool. How many kids out here bouncing off the walls because of the placebo effect? Whoa, you made it to the end? You're a ducking beast. I'll cut you a deal. Smash like and subscribe for more curated content, bruh. It's free and that's a great price.